Hello and welcome to another new episode from Kansas, and I have some great news for you. So, what happened on the first day of our 46th president, Biden's day one in office? This is important because it sets the tone for what we will witness in the next 4 years, the kind of presidency we are going to have. Biden's day one was pretty much about dialing down the craziness that has gripped the White House in the last 4 years. The New York Times thinks that it was a full scale assault on Donald Trump's legacy, but I beg to respectfully differ. Of course, there are going to be sweeping changes whenever a new administration takes over, and the changes will sometimes look radical when the ideological mooring of the party that has the mandate to rule changes. Think of it more like Republican to Democrat or Democrat to Republican. Biden signed a massive 17 executive orders, and then there were plenty of other policy decisions that were announced on day one. Biden's actions can be grouped into four different areas: the pandemic response, immigration, environment, and economic. In some cases, Biden's actions completely reversed policies and procedures that Mr. Trump had put in place. In some cases, he introduced limits, and some were aimed at limiting the authority, which kind of resonates with the limited government that Republicans used to talk to us about. And some gave me the feeling of Biden saying, F you morons, this is how you get things done. Remember how badly Trump was jealous about Anthony Fauci and how far Rand Paul used to go to attack Dr. Fauci. One of the first orders that Biden signed on day one will put Fauci front and center of the country's pandemic response. Biden stopped Trump's efforts to remove America from the World Health Organization and sent Anthony Fauci to the WHO's annual executive board meeting today. Then he signed an executive order to impose a national mandate that requires people to wear masks and asked federal employees to follow distancing in federal buildings. Biden then signed more orders that stopped Trump's plan to exclude anyone who is not a citizen from the census data. He also reversed the Trump travel ban that targeted Muslim and African countries. And the president even asked his State Department to look into the Trump ban and see what can be done to address the damage it has caused. So, this particular one, I believe, is a message that Biden is sending to world leaders that he is not only going to reverse some policies that were put in place by the Trump administration, but he is also going to do what needs to be done to soften the harm it was caused earlier. He is saying, I will take care of the future, but I will also look into the past as well. So if you're hurt, I will try to help. It's a foreign policy message. Then there was a decision that is certainly going to be dragged into the political arena. Biden stopped the construction of the border wall, as his administration will examine the legal aspects of the construction, which means the contracts, the funding, and all the razzmatazz that comes under it will all be in review. But Biden left one piece of the Trump's immigration puzzle untouched, or something that relates to the southern border. He did not reverse the pandemic emergency rule that has sealed the border to anyone seeking asylum. I am starting to think that the days of people walking in through the southern border and asking for asylum could be over. No president now or in the future is going to risk opening up the southern border for asylum. The pandemic has given the administrations the easy option to stay closed, but the administration may end up figuring out a way to keep it closed. Let's see, it will be another 2 years and after the midterms before we get a definitive answer on whether the southern border will go back to its old status. Then Biden reversed Trump's decision to walk out of the Paris Climate Change Accord, and then he yanked the permit for the Keystone Pipeline and triggered more research into the social cost of emission. Then Biden asked the Congress to cancel up to $10,000 in individual student debt. The left activists want this number to be as high as possible. But there are pros and cons to taking that route. Biden is taking a cautious approach to the student loan proposal from the left wing of his party. It looks like he wants to tell them, I'm ready to give it a shot, but I'm going to be taking a slow and steady approach instead of the big bang approach that you guys keep asking me for. So on the other side, Vice President Kamala Harris had a busy and eventful day in her office. She swore in Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff and also Alex Padilla, who will be taking over her Senate seat from California. With the three swear-ins, the Senate now officially has 50 Republican senators and 50 Democratic senators. And please don't ever forget that the Democrats now hold all the four seats from Arizona and Georgia. I think it was pre 1960, 1953, I believe, the last time when the Democrats held all the Senate seats in Arizona and Georgia. But I also believe it was a time when the Democrats were actually the white grievance party. And what is going to add more insult to injury for Trump is the way some global leaders responded to Biden's inauguration. President Moon Jae of South Korea tweeted out, "America is back." I don't know what he meant by America is back. And German foreign minister told reporters that democratic institutions in the United States work, despite difficulties and polarization of the society. He is also kind of saying that America is back, isn't it? I don't know if you all remember this or not. The speech that Donald Trump gave during his inauguration was dark as shit. It set the tone for what we witnessed in the last 4 years. But the speech that Biden gave and the actions he took on the first day is a clear sign that bringing back things to normalcy, to dial down the rhetoric, will be as important as getting things done for this President of the United States. People keep saying that Biden wants to reverse Trump's legacy. I totally disagree. It does not feel like this administration is acting with Trump and Trump voters in mind. It is just doing all those things that Biden had already said that he will do. From Biden's perspective, he told this is what he is going to do. He told us he will get back to the Paris Climate Change Accord. He will strengthen the WHO, that he will address immigration, and he will address the pandemic on day one. He told people all of that, and then he ran on it. And more than 81 million people voted for him, telling him that yes, we agree. Now he is doing what he told us that he will. So please don't call his actions as an attack on Trump's legacy. Maybe you guys should call it as Biden is very busy building his own legacy on day one. Thanks for watching. If you like it, please subscribe.